What is food inflation? Food inflation is nothing but what are food related products which you take. Any food related products it can be. So these food related products, if their prices, that means over a period of time, the prices of these products continuously rise, then what we call them? We call them as they are under inflationary mode. The prices of these food commodities increases over a period of time. Then we call this as these are those commodities which are under inflationary pressure. In case if we have to know what are the reasons for the increase in the prices, first thing is the supply chain management issues, or the logistics issues, or cold storages, transportation issue, or increase in fuel prices. Increase in fuel prices will again impact what? Transportation cost. This is also hits food inflation. Next one, if there is a deficit monsoon or irregular monsoon, this will also impact towards the food inflation. Okay, all these are all these are the reasons for food inflation. Supply chain management. Supply chain management means there is some sort of mismanagement in the supply chain. Cold storages, or we can say here logistics issues. Okay, that is we lack infrastructure. Okay, in terms of storages, it can be dry storages, it can be cold storages or non-cold storages. Transportation, increase in the fuel prices. When the fuel prices increases, transportation cost increases. This increase in the transportation cost will also impact food inflation. So irregular monsoon, if the monsoon is not regular, I mean, if we compare with the previous year and the present year, what we receive, the percentage of rainfall is quite less when compared to the previous years, then in this case, we can say the production due to this irregular monsoon has declined. When the production has declined, definitely it will not meet the demand. When it does not meet the demand, what will happen? The prices will go high or the prices will increase. So all of this, I mean, like all are this the factors, all are the factors which will contribute to increase in the prices, which will result into food inflation. So recently in Corona, during this phase, we have noticed immediately when there was a shutdown, there was a food inflation issues. So this was majorly reason. It was due to the supply chain management and the logistic issues. These are the main issues for what we have faced inflation. One is supply chain management and the logistic or the transportation. Either they were not having a proper storages, or the supply chain management with respect to this transportation, there was a gap. So there was a gap in this management. This gap led to a reduction in the supply of the goods. So when these goods have been reduced, I mean, the supply of the goods has reduced in the market. Obviously, they were limited goods whose demand increased. In this case, this resulted into the increase in the prices of the goods. So this is the case of the reason why the food inflation has come into the market. Now, household inflation is that inflation where the household, like the family, the household, or the members of the family or the house units put together, they will cut down their unnecessary expenditures. What could be this unnecessary expenditures? Imagine you want to go for shopping to purchase clothes. So you will definitely cut down spending on this clothes. You want to go for the purchase of electronic goods. You will cut down. And daily usages, you'll be having shampoo, you'll be having toothpaste, or you will be having any other goods which are considered as an essential goods. So you will unnecessarily cut down those goods, and you will start investing on such commodities which are the most important for you. So clothes may not be important for you because what the clothes you have, you may be using them instead of going for the newer clothes. Or electronic goods, you'll try to self-sufficient with what the goods you have rather than going for the new goods. Similarly, daily usages goods, what you used to go for the luxury items or food items, you started to reduce your unnecessary or cut down your expenditures, thinking that there is an inflation in the market. So you want to stop your expenditures. You feel that means the household commodities feel that as there is an inflation in the market, I will try to save my money. When the inflation gets declined or the inflation reduces, then I will try to invest in that good. So this is something like the graph which we discussed. That is the aggregate graph, AD. Here you have prices, here you have quantities. Even if you invest more in terms of price, the number of quantities you are getting is less. That means as the prices are more, the quantities which you get are very less. So what do you do? Household inflation is there. So you will try to refrain from those unnecessary expenditures and you will think that, no, if I invest 100 rupees, I'm only getting one good, which is very costly. So I'll wait for 2 or 3 months. Again, I'll invest 100 rupees. I'll get at least 5 quantities. So it's better to save my money rather than investments. So here, household inflation will lead to your savings. Remember this point. This is the most important preliminary point. How whenever there is an household inflation in the market, whenever there is an household inflation in the market or food inflation in the market, people tend to cut down their expenditures and try to save their money. So due to this household inflation and the food inflation, you will invest only in those goods which are at most important for you. And those unnecessary expenditures you will cut down. This will result into the household savings. So if there is an option like in your preliminary exam, this will result into household savings, 100% it is correct, because people will refrain from unnecessary expenditures. So I hope the concept of food inflation and the household inflation is very clear. So this is what I have already explained you in the previous. So this preliminary, mostly they will ask you concepts. What happens if there is a household inflation? What happens if there is a food inflation? So in this case, you try to make use of this data what I have provided for your main examination. It will also restrict the people from investments. That means what? You are trying to save. So household savings will increase. So already there is an inflation. People stopped investments. People stopped purchases. That means what? When they have stopped investments, when they have stopped purchases, the demand of the good will come down. When the demand of the good come down, what will happen? The prices will fall over a period of time. Then inflation will be under control.